Hi guys, welcome. It is Wednesday. It's Blam Partners Wednesday, 4 o'clock here in the UK, and welcome to Blam Partners Live. So I'm delighted today because I've got a special guest who's going to be joining us all the way from Canada. One of our Blam partners, Janani Paul, is going to be joining me today because I want to talk to her about her business, because she's got a few things that she does in her business that I think you guys are going to be really interested to hear about, because she doesn't necessarily follow the model exactly the same way that we teach it. And I think it's always good to share best practice. It's always good to see what other people are doing. And it'd be interesting just to meet her as well, and for you guys to ask her questions and find out how she goes about her business, digital consulting, which is going great guns over there in Toronto. However, before I invite Jen into the chat, a couple of little announcements to make, and this will all be fed out to you over the next coming days, and you'll be reminded about it quite a lot. However, I have got a date in the diary for you to mark and to keep free, and it is the 10th of December. The 10th of December, we are running our next Blam Partners live event, and it will be here in Birmingham again in the UK, where we will invite you guys to come and join us live if you can. If any of you want to come over from wherever you are in the world, you are more than welcome. And for those of you in the UK as well, love to have you here. Starts at 2:30 p.m. UK time on the 21st floor of Alpha Tower. And it is going to be a day or an afternoon dedicated to super sales success. Because sales, guys, is what our business is all about. If we do not make sales, we have not got a business. And we're going to put together for you a jam-packed, full of value session on how you can make more sales in your business. We're going to be having partner interviews. We're going to having presentations based all around sales. We're going to have a special guest that's going to be joining us as well. And I can't wait, guys, for you to really get to see under the bonnet about how you can get more out of your business and more sales for your business. Now, for those of you that are lucky enough to join us live, we'll also want to invite you afterwards to join us for our Christmas party, because we're going to kill two birds with one stone. And after the event, we're going to be having our Christmas party, and we're going to be having a bit of fun here in the office. In Birmingham every Christmas, other than when we're in lockdown, the famous Frankfurt market joins us, and the whole of Birmingham turns into a big sort of Christmas party right outside our door here. So we're making our way out into the cold as well for some glühwein and some huge Frankfurters and all the stuff that goes with it. So that's always a bit of fun, and it would be great if you guys could join us, just like we did after the last event. We got a few partners to join us. And I'm also really, really excited to announce, guys, that we are going to be hosting at the end of the Super Sales event, the very first Blam Partner Awards. So I've actually asked the team at Blam to make nominations for partners that they think are deserving of the Blam Partner Award. And it's not just based on performance, guys. It's all sorts of different criteria. But I'm going to have a short list of nominees on the day that I'm going to be bigging up and congratulating and showing, why they've been deserving of a nomination. And then we are going to be having a coveted Blam Partner prize, the award for 2021. And let's see who's going to get that award this year. We have actually ran this award before. We ran it in 2019, so we have skipped an award year, I think, for obvious reasons. In the pandemic, we kind of took a year out whilst we all knuckled down and made things happen. However, the awards are back, and I'll be delighted to make that announcement. Another fun fact, guys, the reason we have chosen the 10th of December is because it is, and I'm just looking on the wall, it's actually National Salesperson's Day. And so we're doing the Super Sales Awards on National Salesperson's Day. And let's face it, guys, you know the drill. If you are in business, you are in sales. And that's a really important thing for us all to remember, because if you don't make sales, you have not got a business. And that is so, so true. So welcome to everybody that's joining us and on this live. Welcome to everybody that's on the rerun. But without further ado, I'm going to bring somebody in who knows the phrase, if you're in business, you're in sales. Here we go. We've got Janani. Paul, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Fantastic. Absolute pleasure to have you join us today, Jen. Real pleasure. We seem to be having quite a few chats lately.
Yes.
So we're doing well. So just to kick things off, for those of the partners that are watching that aren't familiar with you and your business, do you want to just do a brief introduction?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Jen Paul. I'm from Digital Consultants. We started with Blam from the start, from my start, and we had really great experience. In the beginning, I did start as a consultant, and it took me a while to kind of put the consultant's hat on and do the more digital marketing consultant side, because I was more connected with the financial world. And now, I think last year is when we took the full both legs on and said we're going to go. And we grew our team from, I think, two of us right now. From then to now, I think we have eight of us. That's what I was doing. I was counting how many do I have in my team right now. And yeah, we love what we do. We work with a lot of small businesses here in Canada and locally in Toronto as well, mainly. And we have a few clients from US as well that we grow their online presence. So
Brilliant, fantastic. So you're going great, because there are 8 people in your team now. Absolutely fantastic. I remember it was just little old you and me.
I know, exactly. For a while, it was just me and my team.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. That's brilliant. That's fantastic. Well, so the thing that I wanted to sort of drill down on today specifically, just to help partners, that are aspiring to, to grow their business the way that you have, is, we talked about this briefly, is the way in which you present your business from the get-go, in terms of the process and the journey that you take your prospects and then your clients on. So specifically, the bit that I'm really interested for people to hear about is the consultancy process that you go through prior to somebody actually, prior to you sending us the brief. So, like, for example, we chatted earlier. I know you've got a few jobs in the pipeline at the moment that will be coming through to us. So at the moment, can you just explain to people the process that you go through before we actually get the brief?
Yeah, it's actually a long process, or maybe for us, sometimes it takes a while to us to put through the brief, because originally we just said, okay, let's just start the brief, and then we were going back and forth. A lot of back and forth was happening. So we thought, what, it's really tough if we don't really understand what problems we're trying to solve with that client's business. So one of the main things we do is, assess the client and then say, hey, can they even afford a consulting role, or are they just taking out, they just want like a facelift of their website. And most of the time, 9 out of 10, when I talk to them about, hey, what, if you don't want the whole consulting, we call it more branding and storyboarding as well, right? And if you don't want that, then we can just create your your website, just take what it is and just make it look more professional. And then they're like, okay, we caught their curiosity, so they're like, what do you mean by branding? What do you mean by storytelling? And that's where the consulting piece come in and say, hey, what, we actually take hours and figure out what are you trying to solve. Because everybody can create websites. Creating a website, Grant, you already know, is not, it's not rocket science. But creating the right website with the right message is what people lack nowadays, right? There's so many websites, you go out there, you open them up, but it takes you like, at least you need 5, 10, 15 minutes sometimes, and you still don't know what problem they're trying to solve, right? So that's where we found a big need, and we're like, what, we can just create a website for you just for the sake of closing a business, or we can genuinely take your business and make it sound like you, online, so then the people are coming in and they hear your voice, right? And that's where the consulting piece we took in. So then we take that and we actually do I have a team that goes through a brand script and write a brand script, write a content, and then we go through it with a person who never looked at the content and say, hey, when you look at this content, does it answer problems and solutions? What problems are we solving? And if they can solve that, or they can identify within a couple of seconds, and we know we got the content right, then we take it and we actually go through a designer phase, and then we actually get the designers who are studying right now online and saying, what does online experience look like, and what does people, when they look at on a website, what do they go through, and all of that. So they take a couple of hours to actually do a mock-up. So once we have done the brand content and the design of the mock-up, is when we actually send it over to Blam to create the briefing. So it's not like, it takes a little bit more than half an hour than completing a brief. It does take a couple of days or even sometimes a week or two to kind of get it right before. But then we found that work has helped us avoid a lot of back and forth. And once we give it to Blam, you guys do an amazing job of transforming and making it come alive very easily as well. So
Yeah. So that's really key, is that what you're providing there is exactly what it says on the tin in terms of your business, digital consulting, is that you're kind of making it almost the default that
exactly.
you take people through,
Exactly.
and your process slightly different to the process that I do, but broadly similar results. And we were talking about this earlier, the digital marketer, the training that we provide with Blam, the digital marketer training, where you do a customer avatar before and after grid,
Exactly.
and then the customer value journey, which then informs the content writing. So the content writing can then be done, and then the brief can obviously be populated and walk through.
Exactly.
So for you guys, if any of what Jen just said, felt a little bit alien to you in terms of your understanding, it's just a slightly different process, but you can apply the same thing by simply just going through the digital marketer training that you'll get in your learning center. So here's the interesting bit then, Jen, is that what do you charge for that service, and how do you figure out what to charge?
So I charge it based on who's going to work on it, right? So if I'm going to work on it, obviously my time is a little bit more expensive. Versus if I have another person on my team going to work on it, they're still learning and they're a little bit cheaper. So if they want like a expert consultants, or they want someone just to kind of quickly just talk them through what their value proposition, I charge it based on that. So roughly anywhere between, I can just the design, the whole design part can cost anywhere between 25 to 5 grand right now.
Yeah. Okay. So that's Canadian dollars, guys. So based on, do that conversion, whatever that is. So that gives you a bit of an understanding. And from what you're saying there, if I convert that into sterling, that's kind of like me when I do my consultancy, charging about £1,500. So in sterling, which is great money, guys. And it means that that's how you support your team, because you do need different people to support you with that. And I think consulting is one of those things that people that are on my elite program, people that do the one-to-ones with me, will know that I encourage it massively, because it's one of those things that when you get good at it, it delivers massive value for your clients. And you only really have to go through that process once to get the amount of value that you need to deliver it online.
Exactly.
But let me ask you this then, Jelani. So what do you do about sort of ongoing consulting?
So from ongoing consulting, if they want like a brand new page added on, I usually add about $200, $250, and say, hey, you know what, that gives you about 1 hour consulting, and then maybe an hour of design work, right? And then we definitely figure out, okay, what is this, a landing page, or what is this different from the other pages that we have created? If they just want some, obviously the text changes or just small changes here and here, or add a blog. It's similar to what we're doing with Blam. We'll just send it as a ticket, and then we'll just they love that though. They like the fact that, oh, I don't need to worry about any more updates. You guys take care of my updates, and I just take care of, just making sure that I convey my message to you, right? And they're just typing it up in an email, and then they love that, right? So
Brilliant.
that's from an ongoing support. But from a consulting perspective, it's only if they have a new product line, if they have something new or a campaign that's coming up, then
I
they come back to me for, okay, I need additional consulting time or additional branding time. So
Yeah. And so in terms of sort of like, do you do like quarterly reviews or,
yes, we do. Yeah. Well, depends. The clients who are more connected with us through have a full package like a social media, email marketing, and a website. Then we do a monthly report with them and say, hey, these are the things that are working. These are some things that are not working. But if it's just a website and we're just maintaining the website, yes, every 3 months we try to do a rotation and get one of our team members to call them and say, hey, how's things are going? What are the things that you're missing out? Your stats. These are the last 3 months stats and stuff like that. So we have a quick touch base with them. Yeah.
Cool.
Mhm.
That's brilliant. So the next thing I want to ask you about then is something that I know lots of partners are going through this at the moment. Staff. So you've now got a team, and I know some of those team have been with you a while now. Well, certainly since you started expanding.
Yeah.
What would be your tips for partners about recruiting? Have you got any tips or any sort of pitfalls that you would avoid?
Yeah, I think by God's grace, the first couple of ones that I got, they're amazing. They're really hardworking, and they're still they started from the beginning with me. We're all crossing over our year and a half line now. And the one of the main things I would say for staff is it's having that constant relationship with them. So we do a weekly stand up. So everybody has their priority list. Everybody comes and says, okay, this is what we're working on, and these are the hours. So I think if you can manage their expectations clearly, it helps a lot. If for any reason they have no clue what they're doing or what they're supposed to do that week, it becomes they're just going to always defer it to the side. So from a management perspective, is really good if you can have like a weekly connection with them. I'm guessing most of you guys are remotely working, unless you have a team of people in a building. It is much easier. But if you're working remotely like we are, we definitely have to have like a weekly stand up, and we always have a clear expectations on what is my expectation this week, and did I achieve the expectations, or did I not achieve it, then what am I going to do about it? So.
And as you say, you've got lucky. Has your experience been broadly positive with recruiting, or have you had some sort of bad experiences as well?
Um, we had some bad experiences, as in like some of them they thought, because it's all part-time right now, none of them are full-time yet. So some of them thought, oh, I can take this on, this is going to be easy for me, and then they weren't able to handle both, right? So or they're just like the team is right now very optimistic, they all love working together, and then there's somebody coming in more like, okay, I was just thinking of doing this as a pass by. They weren't able to fit into the team, the culture wasn't able they weren't able to fit into the culture. So it says, so then it's like having that transparent conversation with them on, it's not avoiding that conflict and saying, hey, you know what's going on here, this is what the expectations are. And then they themselves right away say, okay, you know what, I don't fit into this, and which is totally fine. And it's, if you know that you don't fit in it, it's easier for them to just leave and we find the right person than sit there to make it work. Then it's harder on you and harder on the people around us. So
I think one of the things that interested me, I know you've got a couple of people that have been working with for a while, and when you first took them on, they were getting on the phone for you, and appointments. But one of the things that you did was you kind of varied their tasks, so you didn't make that the only thing that they did.
Exactly.
Is that still how you're managing those guys?
Yes, I have, because for them it's like if they're just constantly making phone calls, and then if they're getting rejected after rejected, they're their confident level is going to go down, right? But if they can kind of balance between 50% of doing some sales calls to 50% actually doing hands-on work where they're actually seeing results, they're helping clients, they're growing clients' needs, seeing the positive feedback, it kind of bumps them up and gives them more encouragement to say, hey, you know what, okay, this stuff, people need this stuff, so I can kind of I need to make those calls. So that's how we balance it off right now.
I really like that, and I think it's quite interesting to see the way you've kind of nurtured those guys with that mix of skills.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's quite often we pigeonhole people, don't we? We say, they're in sales, they're in production, they're in marketing or whatever.
Yeah.
When you've got a small team, you all have to wear lots of different hats.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I told them right away when, especially with the sales team, that when we hired, I said, you know what, don't think that yes, you're hired for the sales team, but you might be playing multiple hats because we're a small team here. The designers, they're good at designing, but they're not used to writing contents for social media, and they had to play that role a couple of times, and they're so relieved now that we have content people more than anybody. I think they're more relieved. They're just like, oh my goodness, I have to go research on hashtag, I have to research on trending, and but they once they found that oh, what, social media, those posts are starting to increase, that gave them that little bit of boost to say, oh, okay, what, I can learn this, I'm capable of learning it. So
yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, it's good. That's brilliant to see the way you're nurturing those guys. So just just going to say, guys, anybody got any questions for Janani? Let me just check. You can stick it in the feed. We've got a few people watching at the moment. Just seeing, I don't think we've got any questions yet. But as ever, guys, if you missed out on the live, you can still drop the questions in, and I'm sure Janani will be able to, chip in with that kind of thing. But I think it's what's really my takeaway from this chat really is to help people understand that the revenue opportunity for your business is really, really open when you start becoming confident in providing marketing consultancy. Now, it doesn't happen overnight, Janani, and I'm sure, when you first started out, you wouldn't have felt hugely confident right from the off, providing, the full spectrum of marketing consultancy. But it comes with experience, doesn't it? And now you're delivering this really, high level advice and consultancy, and that's what gives you your reputation. And I think, you get a lot of work off referral, don't you?
We do, and that's one of the, like, exactly like you said, right? We try to test the water, and we don't go jump right in sometimes because it is a little scary. So we started, like, and you guys gave us a good advice, starting off with just the website first, right, and closing some of those first websites, and then you build your confidence. Oh, you know what, I did it. And then when you see the clients come back and say, hey Jen, your websites I build, the website you build, now I'm getting about 3-4 calls a week, and it's like, oh, it's encouraging to know that, right? Before they used to only get 3-4 people coming into their website a month, right? And now, like, one guy told me, like, I was trying to hit 20 clients, and now I'm at 28. I literally just got off the call with him because I went over my expectations, right? So it's great and rewarding to hear that from them.
Yeah,
know that you're adding value to them, right?
So Peter's got a question for you. He's from South Africa. He said, when did you start adding staff to your team?
That's a good question. So when I started evaluating and putting a little formula and saying, how long does it take me to work on this versus if I get somebody else? And then if I'm able, not if it's coming in the way of sales, or if it's coming the way of me kind of building the organization, that's when I knew that I needed to hire somebody on. So usually if I'm running about, I would say an average 4 or 5 websites, and then we need somebody to support. I got somebody on part-time last year and said, hey, you know what, can you support these 4 or 5 websites? And then also they'll come into all my calls and start shadowing me and saying, how am I doing when we're doing the wireframes, when we're doing mock-ups. So it's slowly transitioning them in, but in the beginning, when you only have like 3 or 2 websites, I don't think you need it. But I think when you have about 5, 6 of them coming in board, I think we started hiring at that time.
Brilliant. Awesome. Okay. And then we've got another question. What's your best approach for new prospects?
What that worked for me, maybe it's a little old-fashioned. Email marketing still works for us, right? And I think that's where you said, Grant, we have referrals, because I think they hear on a weekly basis. We finally mastered on a weekly basis, just emailing our current clients and then people who are in our circle of who supports what we're doing. And from there, like, we have been getting referrals. So like, and also we are also connected with story branding communities as well. So they have also been sending us. So anything you can do organically and just really show them, your true heart on helping these guys in, those Facebook groups or the chambers. The chambers are awesome. We just got hired as a chamber, as a consultants, digital marketing consultants for our city right now. And so if anybody in our city needs any digital marketing advice for free, the chamber will hire us, and then we'll be able to advise them. So, and then after that, if they need any client work, we will actually, the chamber won't come in the way. We will just be able to take them as our client. So I think it's making a relationship in your community and standing in your community. It's one of the best way to get the prospects.
Yeah, I think that's key, isn't it? Because, I always think that, when you first got your business, and getting that, it's like pushing a boulder up a hill. It's really, really tough to get momentum.
Yeah.
But once you get to the top of the hill and you get yourself in a community where you start getting a reputation, that's
Exactly.
when you get momentum, don't you? And all of a sudden you wonder why it was so hard to start with.
Yeah. It's like that snowball, right? That snowman that you're making, right? The first, it takes a while to get that ball rolling, but after
Yeah.
it guts, and it just gets bigger and bigger. So
You need momentum.
yeah.
So another question from Peter saying, how did you get your pricing model? How did you come up with your pricing model for part-time staff?
So I'm guessing this is to pay the part-time staffs.
Yeah.
So, okay. I believed in paying them well, because when you pay people well, they start adding value to it. So we never went through the minimum wage. So when we paid, we always buffered it up at least 15 or 20% more than the minimum wage. And then actually, sorry, no, it's actually 25% more than the minimum wage, because our minimum wage is $15 an hour right now. And then, so I think we pay close to $25 an hour a client. And they loved it right away. They thought, oh, you know what, somebody's willing to pay me that much money. And because they were settling for minimum wage, and now that, they thought they have the experience and they were going to get that helped them also deliver quality work as well. So again, that I would say that if you're looking for minimum wage staff, you probably get minimum wage work as well. Unfortunately, they go hand in hand.
Do you know what? That's really good advice. And for those of you guys that are looking to recruit, particularly, I took that exact advice that Jen's just given us when I recruited my overseas member of staff, and I recruited somebody from the Philippines. And if anybody's looking to recruit overseas staff, Philippines is one of those places that you'll potentially look at. And I've actually referred quite a few partners to this, but the advice that I was given was, don't recruit at the level that you're told to recruit at. So what the hourly rate is, actually put 50% on top of it, and it will still be a good value hire, but you'll get the cream of the crop. And for those of you that know Leo now, who's been working for us for a while, he's an absolute gem. He gets paid really well. But you get somebody who is, a high quality person. And so I think that is really, really good advice, no matter where you're recruiting and what part of the world. Another question: what are the common mistakes you advise we should try and avoid, especially related to clients? Okay, that's a good one.
I think Grant probably told us this enough times, so I'm going to probably repeat it, because I do make that mistake, is overspending time with them, right? As much, because you want to give them a lot because you genuinely care to see that, and want to see the success of them and add value. But then sometimes you over give, and then all of a sudden you don't see the results, and that comes back again to the whole paying of the people as well, right? If they don't see the value in the service that you provide, no matter how much service you provide, they're not going to put a price value to it, or they're not going to value it. So then we're wasting time, right? But when the client starts seeing value in your work, they will start seeing and saying, oh, you know what, like one client yesterday, I actually was just going to do a consulting for her 1 hour free, and then she already paid me end of the day to start the website. But then she's just like, well, the consulting part, the beginning assessment part, she's like, how much is that? And she was ready to even pay me for that because she valued the service, right? So that's one of the things that I would say is that, engage on the client to see what their heart is, and are they going to value this. If they don't value digital marketing, if they don't value websites, online messaging, you won't be able to convey them because especially after COVID, if they don't value it, they're probably not going to, you're not going to be able to get that through them.
That's
So,
a really good point. That is.
yeah.
That's a really good point, because after what we've been through, if they don't get it now, they're never going to get it, are they?
Exactly. And that's like, trying to move a sleeping cow. Is that what they say? It's hard to do that.
Oh, brilliant. Awesome. Well, we're up to the half-hour mark. So, Janani, absolute pleasure. I really, really appreciate you helping us out and giving the top tips. Delighted to see your success and see how you're building your business. Just to finish off with, where are you going? What's the goal? What we're going to look like in 5 years' time?
5 years from now, I have my vision board, which here on the side, looking at it on a regular basis. It's that we're looking to grow, get more clients, double our staff, and definitely more than triple our clients for sure. Now that we have finally a framework that works and the business model that works, we just starting to just accelerate and make it more going to that way. Yeah. But yeah, we're hoping to get our own building, and we're hoping to just add more momentum in the area that we're in, the local area, and then build through that way as well.
So I think we've got to be looking at number one web design consultancy in Canada. That's the goal, isn't it? It's got
number one. There you go.
Number one. There we go. Yeah. So just a few thank yous there. Absolutely brilliant advice there. Really appreciate your time. I'm going to let you crack on now, get back to work. And guys, thanks so much for joining. If you are watching on the rerun, feel free to add more questions. Thanks for all your questions, guys. Absolutely brilliant. Have a great rest of the day. Don't forget, 10th of December, the Super Success event for Blam, Super Sales Success event. I'm sure, Janani, you're going to be having some tips to add to that as well, because it's in a month. It's a month today, actually. So
I was going to say, Grant, maybe you should have like a dunk grant time in that. Put you in the water.
It's going to be one of those things where I've got to answer questions, and then if I get it wrong, I get like a slime. Yeah, I went for that.
You might not like that with your suit on.
On that note. Brilliant. All right then, guys. Pleasure again. Have a great rest of the week, and see you very soon. Thanks, Shani.